Hi there, I'm Tania and I'm the owner of the creative business TJ Frog. I'd love to welcome you to the Isle of Skye, part of the Inner Hebrides here off the northwest coast of Scotland. We have here a huge variety of rich geological features, landscapes from majestic mountains to rocky shorelines, and these, along with the history of Skye, are just some of the highlights which attract visitors to come here from all over the world. Whether you have been here before and yearn to come back again, or perhaps you've read up about Skye, heard about Skye from friends and family, I hope that in this video I can bring you just a little snapshot of Skye to you in your home until the time comes when you can visit in person. Skye is much divided in its complex geological makeup, ranging from some of the youngest rocks to some of the oldest. And in the north of Skye there are dramatic rocks, peaks, jagged ridges formed from volcanic and glacial action, such as the Coolin mountain range, the Quarang and the Old Man of Storr. Here on the south of Skye where I live, the landscape is quite different. The Slate Peninsula is referred to as the Garden of Skye because of its fertile and green land. It benefits from the Gulf Stream, and its geology has been shaped by much older rocks such as Lewisian gneiss and Turidian sandstones. If you follow me on social media or listen to my podcast, then you'll know just how much I love the landscape and the weather here. We have days when there's no wind. Today is not one of them, as you can probably see. And on those days, the water is so calm, it almost looks like you could walk across it. Or we can have breezy days, a bit like today, or extreme windy days where we get hit by those southwesterlies or the westerlies coming across the Atlantic. The main community in our area is a place called Armadale, and that's where the ferry comes into South Skye from the mainland. And you'll also find in Armadale the ancestry home of the MacDonalds, the Lord of the Isles, who was one of the two clan chiefs residing on the island, the other being the MacLeods up in the north of Skye. I'd like to take you on a trip now down to Armadale to see where the ferry comes in, a visit to the gardens at the Armadale Castle, and I'd like you to join me on one of my favourite walks. Over the sea to Skye, arrived to the south of Skye by ferry from Mallaig. There's a small collection of shops at the ferry terminal too, from pottery to textiles, leatherwork, clothes, artwork, or try your luck at mackerel fishing. I might be biased, but I think it's a fabulous way to arrive on the island. The surrounding landscape is spectacular. Here I am then at Armadale Castle Gardens and Museum, which, as I mentioned to you, is the former seat of the MacDonalds of Slate, and it's now managed by a charity, the Clan Donald Lands Trust. I've just walked up the Lord MacDonald Drive, and I think one of the things that strikes you here is just the huge variety of plants and shrubs and trees that they have, which not only goes to show the fertile land that there is here, but also that this is actually quite a sheltered spot from some of those bad winds that we get in the winter. As I mentioned before, you know, we get the Gulf Stream in this particular part of the island. Many of the big trees date back to the Victorian times, and the 40 acres of woodland gardens are now home to species which have been gathered from all corners of the earth, and it's great to come here at different times of the year to see how they change in the seasons. And if you're fortunate enough, you might even see a variety of wildlife around the estate, such as deer or birds of prey or otters. And there you have the ruins of the castle. Sadly, the condition of it means we're unable to get up close to it. It was built in the 19th century, and prior to that the Clan Donald, which had been established on Skye back in the 15th century, had resided at other castles on the island. But it's beautiful stonework and has a fantastic commanding position overlooking the Sound of Slate. Down at the bottom of the lawn then there's a wonderful viewpoint area, and there we are looking back across the Sound of Slate over to Armadale, where we were earlier, where the ferry goes from. And here we're behind the ruins of the castle, where there's this beautiful lawn, and it's known as the Quarter Garden. There's an amazing network of footpaths to explore here, to see what's been planted many years ago, and also what work is being done today to keep this going for future generations. I'm walking now up towards the museum and the library and the laundry ruin and the ponds. And the museum is somewhere where you can find out a lot of information about the history of Clan Donald, and also everything from the Vikings, the Jacobites and the Highland clearances here on Skye. Unlike the castle, we can actually go inside the laundry ruin. It's really tucked away in a corner here. And just look through these windows. I love how they are framing all that amazing foliage out there that is just starting to turn and give off all the gorgeous autumnal colours. Carry on down the path, there's actually 2 more ponds here. I think it's a great time of year to see the gardens with all the colours changing. And as I start to make my way back to Lord Macdonald's Drive, you see these 2 huge tree trunks lying on the ground, and they are European silver firs, and they were blown down in a great storm that was here on Skye in 2005. If you've enjoyed this brief look into the Armadale Castle and grounds, do have a look at their website to find out more information. I've stepped out of Armadale Castle and the grounds onto the main road just outside, which is the A851, the road that runs from the south of Skye and joins up with the A87, which is the main road which goes up through the north of Skye and back across the bridge to the mainland. I'm just going to pan round now and you can see where we were up amongst the trees. And you'll start to see in a minute the lawn that runs in front of the castle. And you can just see all those beautiful mature trees and woodland. On my other side here then, which is why I love this spot so much, we've got the Sound of Slate, which we then look across to mainland Scotland. And then just about to come into view, we're back to Armadale and the ferry is in now. What do I love about this spot so much then? Well, from the ferry, you look across to Arden-Merkin, the most westerly part of UK mainland, and then also over to Mallaig. And there's just this fantastic stretch of landscape, which swings round now to looking over to Knoydart. It's a great place to see wildlife such as herons and oyster catchers, and in the winter when the road is quieter we often see otters, and I've popped a photo in at the end from a previous day. It's also a stretch where the landscape is forever taking on a new look with the ever-changing light and colours. Here you can see Knoydart, which is mainland UK, and it's a unique and special place, considered one of the most inaccessible places on the mainland as you can't access it by road. While there are roads in Knoydart, there is no road to Knoydart. You can only get there by boat or by walking in. That's it. We've come to the end of our short walk around Armadale and Armadale Castle and Gardens, and just along by the seawall there looking over towards Knoydart and the mainland. I very much hope that you have enjoyed this bit of escapism and trip over to Skye, and in particular to the south part of Skye. And hopefully you can see just how much I enjoy living here in this landscape, and very much hope that maybe you will be able to visit one day too.